journey from, as Ian said, somebody who literally was terrified of public speaking, terrified of speaking in the meeting, terrified as a teacher if someone came into the back of my room, was watching me, my heart would be going, I'd be terrified. I couldn't even speak my wedding vows first time I got married. And you know, I was really very conscious of anxiety in my own head and how it was really restricting me and preventing me from doing everything I wanted to do. Now, I was completely extrovert, outgoing character, you know, lots of confidence socially, but there was something getting in the way. And that's why I'm absolutely passionate about the things we're going to talk about. And I asked teachers, well, what about your aspiration and ambition? Are you in touch with it? Are you conscious of it? And I suppose that the magic in the magic box is this process of metacognition. And we know now that metacognition really does make a difference for kids and for teachers. I suppose I'm going to show you how it's made a difference for me. Metacognition just being that process of thinking about your thinking. How does it work? Can I stand back from the way I think and see the world and what I believe? And can I actually challenge it? I want to just justify my reason for talking about you for this first sort of half an hour or so, because I think teachers are massively powerful and they are change agents for children. There's no doubt about it. These children are not going to remember Boris Johnson. They're not going to remember Michael Gove. They are going to remember you and how you helped them through all this pandemic. Interestingly, it is a perception, and people at all ends of the scale can see themselves as a success or a failure. And that's interesting, isn't it? And I just want you to have a look at this picture and see both sides of it. So you can see the forward facing, you can see the sideward profile. Just feel horrible. And actually, the study they did in Finland, when they took people off Facebook, they found the serotonin levels went up. They were happier when they were off social media. So the interesting thing is, how do we help children who are going to, even if they're not now, dealing with social media? Well, we actually just tell them to leave it, or we teach them mind management, which means letting it go. Letting it go. So a message comes on that's not very nice, or someone says to you in the playground, oh, hate you. How do we deal with that? Do we dwell on it? Do we link it up with our cognitive bias that says, yeah, see, I knew nobody liked me? Or do we actually just learn and get in the habit of the process of letting it go? Thinking about the teaching and learning, we know that really clear goals that motivates kids in high challenge and that feedback loop all the time, giving kids as much feedback. And by the way, you seeking out feedback as well. You being the biggest learner in the class and having everybody having that whole idea of reflecting on themselves and their own progress and how they're learning. See, we were all babies once, and babies are learning experts. They're absolutely learning, and every child in front of you every day is a learning expert. If you think about what they do, what they have to do from that moment when they come into this world, they're constantly, they're endlessly curious about learning, aren't they? They're just so curious about how does this work, how does this work, how does this work? They will fall over. When learning to walk, they will fall over 100 times, but never give up and think I'm going to just crawl the rest of my life. They just keep going. I think we don't always pay enough attention to and connect the learning at home with the learning at school, and kids to know that the learning they do at home is just as important and connects really well with the learning they do at school. So, you know, that entails having a sort of language for learning that crosses the boundary of home and school. All the things that they do and the sort of language you use for learning at school also can link up with the learning they do at home. So, for example, you can think about which of those do you need to do to be able to play a computer game or set up an iPhone or bake a cake or learn a new football skill. We need to get them in the good habits of remembering stuff now. So how do we remember stuff? Well, actually, it's interesting. The emotional brain absolutely loves anything that intrigues us. So the old curiosity thing comes out again. And things like rhyming and singing and pictures and films and videos, anything that connects with our emotional brain, and that includes humor and anything that your passion for what you're teaching, that will connect with their emotional brain. So what I'd like to think about is this comfort zone idea. You know, how often do you push kids outside their comfort zone? There's an expression, life begins outside your comfort zone. It's so easy for us to stay in our comfort zone. And children learn very quickly how to stay inside their comfort zone. And when they stay inside their comfort zone, they don't grow. And the point is, learning should be scary. It should be challenging. It should be risky, because it should feel like you're on the edge of growing a new neural pathway. Critical thinking is having that ability to critique and stand back and observe and have a viewpoint. So critical thinking is really, really crucial for the future, so that we can differentiate between fake news and real news. This really releases your creativity without the judgment, because one of the things that happens when you say to kids, oh, think of an idea or think of 3 ideas, it's almost like, guess the idea that's on my mind, but also you say, oh, I've got to think of 3 good ideas. I'm going to ask you to think of ideas that are rubbish, that it doesn't matter, the quality doesn't count, it's all about quantity. So it's about finding many solutions. And then when you've done that, when you've written down all your millions of ideas without worrying about how good they are and whether they're really great ideas, you get this freedom of expression in your head. I want to mention in assessment, you know, the whole dirt thing, which was sort of brought up originally in my Perfect Offset lesson, because are you building that in to your everyday lessons? Are you making sure that children have a chance to reflect and improve their work, spend time on that and respond to feedback? And feedback should be going on almost like anything I do for them. It makes me feel like a rubbish teacher. What's the emotion coming out there? So the majority of your class are okay and appreciate your teaching. Well, yes. So we sort of get to the truth by just gently getting someone to reflect on whether what they're saying is the truth. I mean, it's much easier to join in and have a good old rant, as long as we need that. But actually, it helps us all if we just try to get to the truth. Well, what worked well with your class last week? Oh, they enjoyed that drama. They're right. Yeah, maybe I need to sort of think about how I can